There are so many things I love about our house after we got it built, but can you guess which one is my favorite? So it's not my transom windows, although I really do like these. It is not my covered deck, although this is very, very essential for those hot Nebraska summers. It's not even the access points I have mounted on my ceiling to give me seamless Wi-Fi coverage, although I have to say this is probably a really close second. No, actually it is these two PVC pipes that I have routed from my rack in my basement, right here, all the way up to my attic. And today you're going to see why. All right, so here is the plan for today. We're gonna be pulling a new cable from my rack all the way to the outside of my home for my garage, and here's why. I have an AI Pro camera up here that I just installed recently. I just swapped out my G4 Pro with this AI Pro camera because I wanted to be able to add the ability to read license plates. However, my car, which parks on this side of the driveway, doesn't have a front plate on it, and the two other cars that park in my garage are far enough away that it has trouble reading their plates. And so my plan is just to move this camera to the other side of my garage. And I can't make the cable longer, so I'm just gonna pull a brand new cable. But because I have this PVC pipe in my basement, that process really isn't too bad. I mean, it's no fun being in the attic, but it's not too bad of a process. It's not like retrofitting something. So we're gonna just go ahead and do it. And today's nice weather, so it's a perfect day for it. Then my plan, since I have a cable here, what I plan to do is I'm going to put in my new G6 bullet camera and test that here in the front as well, because it too has the ability to read license plates, and I want to see if it does any kind of a better job. So that's the plan for today. That's why we're doing this video. But the whole point of this video is just to show how this PVC pipe and running it from wherever your network equipment is all the way to your attic, how it can really come in handy. And so I just thought I'd take you through the process today so you guys could see it firsthand. Let's get started. Okay, so a couple things. You can see it close up, or you can see the pipes there. Now, one thing I did is I included a pull string that's just tied off right here on my gas pipe here. Okay, so I can always use it to quickly pull up cables. This is something I highly recommend doing, having a string here. So we're having a new cable. We have our new pull string that we're gonna pull. So I got a thing here, and we're just gonna basically tie everything up, get it ready to pull down here. We got our box of cable. And then I'll just go up into the attic and I'll take you guys with me, and we will pull the other end of the string all the way up. So let's go ahead and do that. My PVC pipes pretty much go straight up. So I don't really have to worry about tying this too tight because I don't have to worry about the string slipping. Now, that being said, I don't want to tie it too loose because I don't want to have to come down here and start over again. But it's a pretty easy pull. If you guys have some bends, you're not supposed to put any 90-degree bends in your conduit, but if you had some bends, that you have to pull through, make sure you give yourself a good taping job here. Otherwise, you'll have to just kind of come down and start over, which is no fun. All right, so the first thing I did was just tie my cable to it. So now we're ready to pull that up, and then at the same time we want to pull up a new pull string. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape a pull string to our other tape job. And typically when I get up there, I don't fuss with it, I just cut it off. So I'll bring some scissors with me and I'll just cut it off so we don't have to worry about untaping anything. So we'll just add some tape here for that. So I think I don't remember what I paid for this bucket of string here, but it's coming real handy. I mean, this thing didn't cost a lot of money and it's lasted me forever. I have barely put a dent in it. But this will allow us to go up, pull the string. Both of them will pull, as you can kind of see. And then we'll go ahead and film from the attic. All right, so a couple things here as we get recording. There's where the pipes come up into my attic. So you can see, there's the attic space up here. Got some other cables run. And down in that back, little corner back over there, that's where my garage is at. So it has a separate access to the attic. So basically we're just going to pull the cable up to here, drop it down in that little space down there, and then we'll be able to access the cable above the garage attic space to get it out to the eave. The second thing I thought I'd just throw out, this is kind of a general building thing, but if you have the option, and I believe we had to ask for this, but if you have the option, add a light bulb up here, guys, and a little light switch. Our switch is just on our ceiling right next to the access hatch, and boy, it's nice having that. So if you guys have the option to do that, by all means, you should. All right, let's get this cable pulled. All right, so we're going to try and do this without falling through my ceiling. So here's where our pipes are. You can see we got our other pull string just tied on up here. So I put my son on the other end just to make sure we didn't have any snags or the cable didn't get caught on something down in the basement as we pull it up. So we'll go ahead and just loosen this because it's going to be throwaway, and we're going to go ahead and pull up the cable. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. There she is. Just like that. Nice and easy. So I got my trusty scissors here. So what we'll do is we'll lop this off. Okay. So here's my old string, which I will throw away. It's the string you'll find is fairly disposable. Okay. There we go. All right, so that out of the way. All right, so now I have my new string and my cable here. And we're just going to tie up the string to use it on a later day, like I had it before. We got a nice staple up here I can tie it to. And now it's there for a rainy day. And now we have our cable coming up through the pipe here. And we'll continue to pull how we talked about doing it. So I'm just going to give myself enough to drop it down that spot over there. And we'll be able to pull up some more from there because it should pull even though it's down there. I should be able to still pull it. But all right, so we got it started. But as you can see, guys, the whole point of this video here is just how easy it is to do this. If I had to get a cable to this location without having this tube in here, it would be a nightmare. I mean, we're talking probably drilling it outside the house, running it and trying to hide it in places, maybe running part of it through a gutter. I mean, it would be really difficult. Not that this is any fun. This is not fun, but it's way, way better. So if you guys can work this into your build, it too will be one of your favorite things. So let's go ahead and get set up for the next part of the pull in the garage, and I'll bring you guys with me. Here we go. Okay, so we are up in the attic above the garage now. I don't know why I didn't request to have a light put here, even because we requested in the other one. It's come in so handy, but I don't have lights here. So it's pretty dark unless I have my shop light on. That's what you're seeing right now. So right up here in front of me, let me see if I can get the camera turned around. You can see that area where we threw the cable down. You can see the blue wire there, and it's just hanging here. That's where basically what we threw down. And we're going to run that cable to the front of the garage over here. And that little space there at the slope of the roof, that is where the eave is at. And we're just going to drop it down there. I do have a hole prepared for it. And we'll just pop it down in there. So I'm going to work on that next. And then we'll give you guys an update here. Okay, so as you're pulling cable and you got to pull it out a little hole in the front of the garage, always give yourself plenty of extra. So I pulled several feet of extra cable. There's some more coiled up as you get up closer to the front there. But always leave yourself plenty of extra because nothing sucks worse than having to run back up your ladder just to give yourself some more cable. And cable, for the most part, is pretty cheap. Okay, so as you can see, we got our cable dangling out of the wall. I got all sorts of extra slack here. All right, and then I have my rod going through. That's a cable rod, and it's going all the way through the eave and popping out this soffit light here. And so we're just going to tie our cable onto it and pull it through. And then once I have it hanging out of that light, I can put the lights back and I'll drill a new hole for it. So when I tape my cables like this, you can see up here, I tape at an angle here. I don't want to give anything to snag on as I'm pulling it through. So try to make it as smooth as you can because you just never know what it could snag on. And if there's something it can snag on, it almost will every time. So try to give yourself or remove any snag points by, taping it in a way that makes it more of an angle. It just kind of makes the pulling process go a little easier. All right, so there's our cable coming out right there. And you can see I left myself plenty extra. In addition to the service loop here, I'm not going to chop all this off. I'm going to push that all back up in the hole. So I have, some length of cable up there as a service loop on this side. And then where I took out this light over here, I have an additional foot or so of cable sitting up in the eave there. Up in the attic, there's some additional. And then when we get down to the basement portion, there's also going to be a service loop that we wire in. So always leave yourself some extra cable. If you're learning to crimp cables for the first time or something, it just makes it easier to, have a little bit of extra cable to give yourself a couple tries if you need it. And you never know if you might need to move something. Maybe this light is going to interfere with it somehow, and I need to move it. And maybe I need to move it back, which is actually very difficult to do because I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a seam right there, and there is a board that would be very difficult to navigate around. So I hope this is a good location for this light, or for the camera. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and terminate, get things ready, and then we'll go down to the network head-in part and get that ran, and then we'll get the camera moved. All right, guys, so we are to the basement part. So you see I have my cable down here, still just hanging out the hole. So the plan is to pop this out and follow this white cable. So I have everything kind of tidy up here, and I got some little J-hooks along the way to kind of keep everything run nice. And then we're going to run a little service loop right here. Again, talked about the service loops as we gone, and then it'll just drop down into my rack, and then we'll get it terminated. So that is going to be the plan. That's what I'm going to kind of work on here. So we'll get the cable run, pop it through my Velcro so everything looks nice, and then we'll get it run through the rack, and then I'll bring back the video again. All right, so we have our cable ran how I just described it. We have it sticking in the spot that we have designated for it. So this is the area where we're gonna run the cable through. So what I typically do is I'll pull back, a little extra. I gave myself my service loops, but I'll work with a little extra, and then that way when we snap it in, it should come to the right length. So what we're gonna do is now we got our length right, we're gonna pop this back, and I'm just gonna remove this blank here, which, by the way, I've completely converted my rack to using rack studs. Whoever told me about these, they are awesome. So, I know I've done my previous rack video, I was using cage nuts, which are a huge pain in the butt. Nobody likes using them. These rack studs, absolutely awesome. They actually just, these are the 1U ones, so they just snap in back here, like so, and then you just put your device on, your switch or whatever, and then add your cap like that, and just screw it on, and it holds it on. And they are just awesome. So easy to work with, so awesome. And then they make, these are 1U ones, so they come as one piece. Then they make individual ones that you can just stick in for like your 2U devices, like my NAS here. So super awesome. Don't remember who left the comment, but thank you very much. I've converted my entire rack to it. I'll never use cage nuts again. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get this crimped and on. So I'm kind of old school. I think I've mentioned this in other videos. I use electrician scissors. So I think it's just kind of how I learned to do this. So I've always done it. I know a lot of you like those little devices that you can stick the cable in and spin it around. It cuts the sheathing perfectly, and those are great. But and I think even my cable crimper has one of those built into it. So we're just going to go ahead and get these laid out. So go ahead and untwist them. We don't have to straighten them because we're doing the jacks, so that's nice. We don't have to straighten them out. They can have a little crinkle to them. It'll be just fine for what we're doing. You guys can see that. So I'm just uncrimping here. Untwisting, excuse me, not uncrimping, untwisting. All right, so we got brown and orange going one way, blue and green the other way. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Then we're going to use the B scheme. Now, something else I'll talk about here is I know Ubiquiti makes some toolless jacks that work right in their plates and everything, and they're great. I think they're fine. I really like these ones, and I'll put a link in the description. You can even buy these at Home Depot, but they're the Legrand version. I really like them. I think they do a great job. You want to find the Cat 6 ones. I think they make a couple different flavors. And then you use this Legrand crimping tool here to crimp it. And this is not an expensive tool. I'll link that in the description too, but I really, really do like them. Okay, so just line up our color scheme with the B scheme. There's an A and a B scheme on these jacks. The standard is typically to use the B scheme. So these just kind of snap in there and it'll hold it in place. Just make sure you line up the solid and the stripe accordingly. Okay, and then we'll line up, get the blue in there. And I'm just snapping them in like so. They work really, really great. I really like these. Okay, and what I do is that once I get them in there, if you're using this brand, I like to twist the ends like this. Kind of just holds them in there. This is an optional method. You don't have to worry about that. But the tool has these grooves right here, and the jack has those grooves. And so we just slide the jack in like so. It sits right in there, and in one squeeze, we've crimped all of the connections. And that's why I really like that tool. So it does a pretty good job. Mine's kind of old, so it probably doesn't crimp as good as it should. But just if you do have to tear some off, just be careful not to pull up and loosen them. Then it's got a nice little cap. We'll go ahead and put that on, and then we can go ahead and fish this up from the other side and get it in place. Okay, there we go. Okay, I took my cap off of that. Now we just need to add a blue cable because I use blue for my cameras. So let's go ahead and find one of my blue ones. And again, these are not the Ubiquiti branded. I think they're a monoprice cable, but they have the clear ends, so you still get to take advantage of the light, ether lighting on the switch and stuff. You can see it shines through real nice. There's a lot of clear ends here. So, I mean, I have some of the ones from Ubiquiti because they sent me some, but I really like these, and they're very affordable, and they come in all sorts of different sizes. So if you need to go from here to here, you can use the same style of end. It just gives it a nice cohesive look. I really like it. So, all right. So now we're ready to install the camera outside. Should be in the proper VLAN already. We'll double check that real quick, but once we install the camera, we should see it come online. So it is not the same day. It got a little dark on me, but I did get the camera installed. It was just too dark to film. But as you can see, we got the camera moved over to its new location. It's been recording and doing its thing and working really, really well. It does read the license plates better from this location. The light hasn't interfered with it at all. It's just been a great move, so I'm glad I did move it. So all in all, the project was a success, and I'm really glad that we did it. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I did actually end up installing the G6 Bullet over here in the original camera's location just to see how it does with reading the license plates. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. It's kind of a gloomy day here. It was really nice when I installed these. So all in all, like I said, successful project. Having that conduit going from the basement to the attic just made this so much easier than I don't even know if it would have been possible if I didn't have that. So guys, the message here, install the conduit. If you're building a house, get it done. I think it cost me $250 total to have those guys run the conduit. It's there forever. It's hidden in the walls. Nobody knows it's there except, you know, us when we need it. It just has been such a big help. And so the message here is go ahead and do that if you can. So worth it. Okay, so I'm signing off. Thank you for tuning in if you made it this far. And as you can see, it was a success, so we're very happy about it. And we'll see you guys down the road in a future video.